Well, I think it's going to be a long time coming before I get used to doing this, but this will be the first one I've ever done on YouTube. And there'll be lots of different kinds of subjects, probably. But this one in particular, it'll come across as helpful maybe in some way or another for many, because I'm sure it's hard to let go of what I'm about to show you. And it stems from my childhood, from many sad times and rough situations and loss and confusion and not knowing what I'm doing has led up to this. But it'd be a lot worse if I hadn't looked for my own kinds of ways of getting through things. But I digress. I'm going to show you what depression can do to a person, okay? I've only been here for 4 years, and I, quite frankly, didn't want to accept how depressed I've been over the years. I just didn't see it for what it is, except for in the last month or so. I kind of woke up and decided, hey, you aren't looking good, buddy. What's going on with you? And it's happened from all the things over the years that have been placed upon me without my choice or without my knowing why it happened and things like that. And, friends that I've had that I've lost and some that have died, and mother and father are gone. Kids and ex-wife are gone. I don't know where they're at, but my mother and father have passed away is what I mean by that. But anyway, and that's, people pass away. That's something that we go through and consider as a normal thing. But after all I'd been through, it was just that much more on all the other sad feelings. It's just hardly could take it, especially after losing my children. And even my ex-wife, she was rough on me in the end there, but still, letting her go was tough for me to do. So hard. I cried for 6 months, at least, every day. And then I finally made it through that. But the aftermath still stands. And in the last week or so, I've started cleaning things up here and there in my own emotional center and some things inside of my living space. And, that's all fine and dandy, but I got a real problem out here that truly shows all of my emotional trauma in reality. And I'm not going to show you everything out here because, it's a lot of stuff that's not really mess stuff. It's just things a guy like me just keeps around. But anyway, I'll give you a brief presentation on video here of what emotional turmoil is, okay? Now, I know you're going to be shocked, because it shocks me too. I can't believe I've made it this bad for myself. It's unfathomable, but at the same time I understand why. I can see it in me now. What's dragged me down for so long. You're going to see it. And I want you to know, don't be worried. I'm going to deal with it. I'm very concrete in what I decide to do, but it's hard at first for me to take the initiative and into the challenge. So that's the hump I got to get over when I get into doing the decluttering here outside. It makes me sick to even think about how tough it's going to be for me to get through it, because I have this thing with my attention deficit that makes me want to go from one situation to the other before I finish the first situation. And it has always left me in chaos with my own life and taking care of myself, except for my most basic needs and what takes intelligence, such as paying bills and things like that, is simple for me to do. But keeping other things in line, it's tough for me to do. So the depression has made it extremely hard to deal with. And you're going to see it soon, here in a few minutes, when I'm done with telling you what I've got to say, because unloading is another helpful thing for those of you out there who don't really talk to anyone when you need to. Do it. Trust me. Doesn't matter if they know you or not. Getting the words out into the open is the same as opening the bottle that you bottled your emotions in. So just do it. Give yourself the space you need to move on. And you will. You are the change you create. So do it when you need to. Don't just sit and stagnate like I've been doing. You'll see why it's not a good idea if you hadn't made it this far into a hole that you dug for yourself, or some similar type of analogy. Just don't let yourself go so far. And if you have, learn from what I am telling you and showing you now. It doesn't take just willpower. It takes change from within. And realizing that pain and suffering chiseled us into the strength and fighting kind of person we are. With strength. Fighting with strength. And we're going to do it. We're going to keep going, aren't we? Yes, we are. Just like me, you're going to get through your sour troubles. Sour things that are bitter and hard to deal with. Now, I got to accept the fact, maybe I'll never raise kids again. But that's how it went. I got about 6 years with them, and then it was all gone. So traumatizing. You must see it from my point of view when you see what I'm going to show you. So here we go. And I'm maybe not going to show everything out here. I don't know. It'll be noisy when I get back there by the generator. I'm running to keep the oil heater going on inside my place. But, you'll see most of it here. And then I'm going to come back over here and probably shoot some more video in this area. I've been out here, not this particular spot exactly, but I've been out here for about 10 years now. It's where I had to go to heal or start my healing. I'm just barely starting to get to the surface of it. So here is just me being completely benign to my emotions and letting things slip by. So I think every time I threw a can out, I was like, well, there goes a little bit of pain. There goes a little bit more pain. There goes a little more pain. With every object, everything. Everything has a meaning to it about me. And the objects, what they are themselves, also tell something about me. So keep that in mind. Here's in here. Can you see? Can you understand? Okay. Now, here's in here. Okay. Pause it if you need to, because probably won't stick around one spot too long. And I have another thing to explain too about keeping yourself calm and collected in certain situations, and what leads up to certain events if you don't. Okay? So, this is another thing that's been going on for quite a long time. I can't remember what sparked the mess. It just out of nowhere, it seems, and it grew and grew. Some of these things are parts that I fixed off the vehicle, of course, but, they're still here. They're still here. Bottles I peed in because I don't have a toilet inside this camper here, which is just an old camper. Okay. That's a good gist of it there. I want to show you this. I'll tell you what happened. I drove this Jeep for over 200,000 miles. Never, ever had even a slight bit of chance of an accident. Okay? Now, you can imagine, it could happen to anybody. They could roll their vehicle over. No doubt. Go back over here and go around this other way so you don't have to deal with the noise of that generator engine. I was driving that Jeep through some canyon roads. I had a friend with me. God rest his soul, he's passed away. But yeah, 5 months after that accident, he had heart failure. But he is having health troubles anyway from smoking and drinking coffee all the time. It was bad on him. But I was going, twisting, winding around the turns, and we were both kind of in a hurry to get him back to his vehicle that had gotten the tires changed over at a Walmart. And I said, yeah, we'll take this way back. It'll be faster. I was going 25 or so. Turns weren't too bad for 25, but then I come up on a turn that I had only been through maybe once before on this road that way, going that way. And after realizing I was going a little too fast on a turn, I pushed on the brakes and hit some loose pebbles. And those pebbles caused me to slide. And so I quickly let off the brakes, but I had made the mistake of turning the wheel sharp already. As soon as I let off the brakes, the vehicle went and off of a little bridge that was about 10 feet down into a ravine. And I ended up on the side and upside down with that Jeep. Now, had I been listening to my spiritual intuition, I guess is a good way to put it, because there's all kinds of intuition. But, when angels and God speak to us, it's undeniable. We know it. And I wasn't listening to that kind of sense, that kind of wisdom at the time. I wanted to go fast and everything was fine, and it wasn't. Had I been listening, I would have been going a little slower, and I'd still be driving that Jeep, which is, quite frankly, better than the 97 is in a lot of ways. For particular reasons of fixing it and the quality of the parts that are put into it. It's better in the 95s and 96s, some of them. So, yeah, quite a loss for being stupid and not paying attention to my own understanding that comes from with my own spiritual self that knows better about how to drive. So, yeah, in case you're a young driver out there and haven't experienced an accident, just realize that's what leads to an accident. So try not to go there and you won't ever have to lose your vehicle like I had to. So these are this solar stuff, you know. It should all be done by now. I've been working on it for years. But I just have been so down. I can't find the strength from within to come out here and use that wire and do the job. I got a bunch more over here to use. You know, they're not even on a mount of any kind. And that, again, is proof of the chaos and emotional status I have within from all the trauma and sadness. So, this was my dad's drill press. I used to have this motor on it, which was an old screw. He put it together on this mount thing here so that it could run the drill press. Quite an innovative guy he was. Anyway, this motor doesn't work anymore. So what I do is, if I need to use it, I put a drill with a socket up on here and turn it. And then with the other hand, I turn this down while I'm controlling the drill. It works okay. I used it to build some copper bus bars for my solar power where it comes together inside of the trailer here. Got all the wires going through probably where they're going to have to be. I might have to pull the hoses out maybe. Right? More wires will be going through there soon. I have my reasons for using the parallel method out here. You know, if lightning ever strikes one of the panels, my hope is that charge controller that panel goes to is the only thing that gets fried, and the rest will be okay. Because, you know, it's just something that might work out for me someday, but then again, it's cost me a lot more money to do it this way. It's more redundant, more reliable, less chance of a fire. Those are other reasons I'm using the parallel method for each panel instead of series for all of them. If you understand solar power and electricity, you know more of what I'm saying, but in a general sense, the way I'm doing it takes more wire. That's how it is. I don't have a well here. That's tough to deal with. So I don't even use the shower. I go to the truck stop. And besides, the water heater in this place went bad a while back. This black one here, or well, where did it go? Over there, I used to use with a 12-volt heater in it. But ever since I blew a water line inside, I haven't even used that. And this one someone gave to me, which was the gas one that has a bad electronic thing on it. This one here, I use during the summertime, just put water in it and wash my hands with it. It gets about 115 degrees in the sunlight. So, had to put the propane connection over here and put it right to my furnace, which ain't working very well, by the way. It's old. I got another one to replace it with that needs work. Long story short, I just put the line right through the wall here and onto the furnace so there's no more leaks, and so I use an electric toaster oven to cook with. Why? Why am I so hard on myself? Well, look around. It's me. You know, other situations just pushed it. The pain so deep into me that I just have deep-seated it. Very, very deeply. So I'm digging that out of me little by little. Realizing, you know, maybe I'll never see those kids of mine again. Maybe I will. my ex is doing fine, so, and even if she isn't, I wish her well, and I've let her go, you know. She's a beautiful person inside, and has made mistakes and done things that are probably more horrible than some of the things I've done in my life. Which there's things I'm not proud of. I never will be proud of. The important thing is I learned from those mistakes and got past that part of myself. But that same negative energy stuck with me a long, long time. Caused me to make dumb decisions or do immoral things, I guess is a way to put it. And I've never really amounted to much because of being that kind of person. I've always fell short of my true potential. And I have very good intentions for this world. So my potential will do great things for this world. My true potential will. And that is my goal in life. Not just being me, living here out in this desert. This is Burrow, Utah, by the way. Not the greatest place to live sometimes. Hot summers, frigid winters, muddy falls and springs. Right now it's not muddy because it's been a very dry year so far, or dry, beginning of winter. Wasn't much in fall, but there was some. I can walk out over here and give you a little indication of that. You see, maybe, unless the water's washed it all down. Yeah, there was a bit more of a rut here. It's been washed away. Because I usually stay here as much as I can. So I'm not wasting gas and things, how do I put it? Things can get chaotic because money is tight. So I'm careful. Sometimes there's, again, my little attitude inside that thinks it knows everything when it doesn't. Gets me into trouble. But, I'm working on it. I really am. I'm 45 years old now. It's about time I quit letting it control me. This usually is muddy over here, but it's all dried up now. Anyway, you can see by the prints from cows that it gets kind of muddy here. And that's just on a rather dry year. This whole area gets 6 inches of water when it rains good. All through here where it's lower. Soaks the solar panels. It's freaky when it happens. It's kind of scary. But this spot was given to me. An acre. The guy just couldn't sell it. He was having me buy another spot I was buying. And I didn't really feel good there. It had funny smells from the farm nearby. A lot of cow manure. And so I said, hey, look, I was wondering if you got somewhere else I could transition to. And he said, well, I got this place that I'll just swap straight across for you from what you paid me already. That wasn't the words he used, but I could tell that's what his intentions were. And I got more mess over here too, shining in the sunlight. See this? I don't even look at it until today. I haven't looked at it much. Yeah. But as I go on with this life, I realize there is no end to sorrow, only solution, and continuing on without letting the sorrow bring down the emotional status. How have I done that over the years so that I haven't committed suicide or said I'm done or I'm not going to try and live anymore? Well, when this depression got seriously worse than I've ever seen it throughout my whole life. I've had it from problems. But when it came to the highest degree I could have ever stood and felt, I said a prayer, of all things. And then I was filled with spiritual energy in supulous amounts. So much that my body literally couldn't handle it. It was causing me to have a panic attack. Sort of, like anxious people get when they're having a bad anxiety attack. And I also had some anxiety too before that. At the same time, because of that inrush of so much spiritual energy, it cured me of that anxiety somehow. And I really think it's because I was, in a way, forced to go through it with it, let it go into its fullest form, rather than trying to use a paper bag and get rid of it. Because the fact that the spiritual energy was so strong at that moment and so comforting, I didn't feel the need to stop the overwhelming feeling in my body like a panic attack makes. I didn't try to stop it. I let it ride. And it rode for a good 30 seconds. And then it stopped and went away. And for almost 3 weeks, I'd say at least, after that, I was vested in that spiritual energy. In such a pure and calm place, all day long. And that's what brought me back and got me started on this 15 year healing journey, which has also been a spiritual awakening for me. And may that be maybe that way for a lot of people out there who see this. And you realize, hey, I get it now. Okay. It's pretty cold out here this morning. Wind's freezing my backside, but anyway. I'm not going to ever give up, especially now. I want my family and friends to realize, Preston is the person who you think he can be. He is. That's my name. Preston. And I want them to know that if they're at all going through trouble of their own, there's a bright tunnel, or a bright light at the end of the tunnel. There always will be. And it's easy to see if you just sit and look for it, which is, in the last 6 days, what I've been really doing to try and finish up this healing process and declutter things that don't need to be around here, showing off my emotional status. I don't know what else to call it. Emotional pain. My life as it is in its most worst scenarios. I'm going to change. I'm ready to. Getting this cleaned up will be tough for me. Extremely tough. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And if that gives you strength, then I've done my deed for today. Because that's all I want to do. Yeah, I need money and I need things. But what I really want is for people to feel better, to feel good, and to feel peace with themselves. Find alignment with the spiritual things in life, because that's where your peace comes from, your happiness, your ability to stave through situations that would otherwise kill most people. And in the light of that, you will also have wisdom that will save your life from situations that might hurt you or kill you. You know, I've told this story to many people when I get the right inspiration to do so, and now is another one of those times. I was riding a Honda three-wheeler, little one, 200cc. Cute little thing, and I loved it. Every time I rode it, I felt like I was riding a wild horse. I got too wild on it once and went off a ravine trail. But I was listening to my intuition every time before I got on that machine. My spiritual intuition was telling me to keep the backpack on all times. I had coat in and other various things. So, you know, if I rolled or whatever, it would protect me from getting hurt. And a few times I did roll it lightly, and it protected me along with the helmet I was wearing. Didn't hurt my backbone at all. I thought, good, it's doing its job. And that day, that fateful day when I was riding up too steep of a trail for that machine, I hit the turn of that trail to cut back, and the right wheel went off when they're loose dirt, and I thought it was over because it was a good 400-foot vertical drop, almost vertical. And next thing I know, I wasn't rolling anymore off the little side of the hill before it went steep. I thought, whoa, what's weird? What's holding me? What's going on? I couldn't even move. I was stuck so much in that spot, in that little upside down position. Cut up all on my right hand because it got shoved into the rocks and dirt with the handlebar. I sit there looking around and trying to figure out what was holding me in place. Nothing to the side of me anywhere, just open falling down ground, going down. And then I felt something pulling on my backpack as I moved around. What is that? It was a tree limb that had somehow slipped right through the loop of the backpack and grabbed me as I was rolling over on that three-wheeler. Yes, God saved me because I listened to my spiritual intuition. And that's my true message for today. Understanding of your spiritual self can help you to survive through many, 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 many things that would otherwise completely ruin you. So keep that in mind. What's my time on this video? I can't even see it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm going to let you guys go. This is me, Preston. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Catch you later. Peace out.